At least one Aurora City Council member wants to explore doing away with public defender's office.
He thinks moving to contracts with private attorneys will save the city money. But the lawyer who used to run the city's public defender's office thinks council has ulterior motives. Your reporter in Aurora, Michael Abeyta, is looking into that story that could ultimately, Michael, affect defendants and victims. And you've done a lot of digging for this one.
Yeah, Karen, a lot of reading. It's a complicated issue. That former attorney who ran this office here in Aurora says this is an attack on poor people, while the council member who proposed this proposal, he says that he just wants to make sure the Aurora city government is running as efficiently as possible.
I came in at a time when the office was in a little bit of a transition.
After 12 years working as a public defender for the state of Colorado, attorney Doug Wilson took over the Aurora Public Defender office in early 2020.
The office needed some TLC, and we turned it into, if you looked at the National Legal Aid and Defenders Association report, one of the best municipal public defenders offices in the country.
When he retired in July, the office had an acquittal or dismissal rate of more than 75%. While in office, he protested an effort by Aurora City Council members Dustin Zavonik and Danielle Jurinsky to implement mandatory minimum sentences for auto theft and failure to appear. He helped the Colorado Attorney General investigate the Aurora Police Department, which led to the department agreeing to a consent decree to improve policies and provide more training for officers. And his office found in more than 200 cases, the Aurora City Attorney's Office failed to disclose Brady letters that could favor the defense's case. He says his office was doing what it's supposed to do.
I've been around PDs for a long time. It's one of the best PD offices I've ever been involved with.
But now that office may be eliminated. Councilmember Dustin Zavonik proposed exploring whether the city should contract with private attorneys to provide defense services instead of having an office of dedicated attorneys and staff. Zavonik says it's all about finding ways to save the city money.
I'm not saying that they don't do a good job. I'm saying that if we can have the same level of service provided at $1 million a year less to taxpayers, why wouldn't we consider it?
A PowerPoint presentation prepared for councilors suggests that based on pay rates and the average number of hours public defenders currently spend on cases, the city stands to save close to $1 million per year. I asked Zavonik if there was a study or report done to analyze the accuracy of these figures, and he said that's exactly what his proposal is doing.
If the analysis came back and suggested that there wouldn't be a significant cost savings, the conversation would be over.
Individuals will very likely get an attorney who either has an economic incentive to work less hours if they go with a flat rate contract, which they have proposed, or they will get an attorney who simply by real basic economic principles is likely going to be underqualified.
Hunter Parnell is a CU Boulder law student and hosts a law podcast called Public Defenseless about public defense law. He says this model has failed in other jurisdictions. He says people accused of crimes are not getting quality representation, resulting in cases being mishandled, which could also affect victims of crimes.
So even if you are not interested in the rights of the accused, that's fine. The people who want to see accountability and want people held responsible for their actions, you cannot do that if nobody is willing to take their cases. Those cases will get dismissed.
I want to know that the people who are going to be represented would get the same level of service.
But Zavonik says he's dedicated to making sure people receive high-quality representation.
And if the answer to that is yes, and we save money, I would want to move forward.
Oh, I think it's 100% retribution.
Doug Wilson doesn't buy it. He thinks people accused of crime in Aurora are being punished for his office's high acquittal and dismissal rate, a claim Zavonik vehemently denies.
And I get that Doug is trying his level best to defend the office that he was building. I'm not trying to attack his office.
Now, Councilmember Zavonik says that they will be discussing requests for proposal at Monday's City Council meeting, and he says while $1 million may not seem that much compared to the city's overall budget, that money would be coming out of discretionary funds, which is a much smaller part of the pot. In Aurora, Michael Abeyta, covering Colorado First.
Michael, thank you so much for digging into that for us.